Members, you should already be halfway to the chambers now. We are 4 minutes to go, and I see the speaker coming down the hall, so please, in honor of Mardi Gras, be on time.
The House will come to order. Members, our prayer today will be given by Chip Martin. He is a guest. He is the pastor of Tharptown Baptist Church in Russellville. He is a guest of our own Jamie Kill.
Thank you, Speaker. House, let us pray. Father, we come today with thankful hearts. Lord, you're so good to us in so many ways. And we're reminded that this is the day that you have made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Father, we're also thankful that we can come here and serve you. And we know that being here is not an accident. but it's an appointment. It's an appointment that's from you. Reminded in Scripture, Father, that everything governing all the authorities is given by you. So again, Father, it's not just by coincidence that we're here. We're here to serve you, serve the people of this great state. Lord, we thank you for these things. But Lord, in this, we want to come and bring you glory in all that we say and do this day and these common days. We say, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So therefore, Father, we come with needy hearts, hopeful hearts, confessing our need for you. We come with humble hearts. Father, for we know that apart from you, we can do absolutely nothing. We thank you for grace that you'll forgive us of our sins if we confess them to you. So, Lord, we do that so we can be a useful vessel in the Master's hand. Lord, that's you. So we come with that spirit, with that heart. Lord, we come with our supplication, asking you to give us wisdom. Give these men and these women and all that serve here wisdom and knowledge and understanding, Father, of your greatness and your justice and your righteousness, so the things that they decide and converse about and to do and pass or whatever they may be serving you today in, they would understand your kingdom, and that, Lord, we would bring a little bit of heaven right here on earth for your glory, for your people's good, and for our good. Lord, we thank you for the grace that we find through your Son, Jesus Christ, our Savior and our Lord, for the great sacrifice that he made, that we can come near to you and be at peace with you and have joyful hearts today in our service to you, Lord. So bless us today. We pray this all in Jesus' name.
Amen. Members, today, Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Laura Asbell. She is a sixth grader at Alabama Christian Academy and is the daughter of David and Michelle Asbell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call roll.
Mr. Speaker, Allman, Baker, Bedsole, Blackshear, Bolton, Boyd, Bracy, Brinyark, Brown, Butler, Carnes, Chestnut, Clark, Klaus, Collins, Colfin, Crawford, Daniels, Datcher, Drummond, DuBose, Easterbrook, Ellis, England, Ensler, Estes, Faulkner, Fiddler, Fort, Garrett, Gidley, Gavan, Givens, Gray, Hall, Hammett, Harbison, Harrison, Hassel, Hendricks, Hill, Hulk, Jones, Hollis, Hulsey, Hurst, Ingram, Jackson, Jones, Keel, Kirkland, Lamb, Lands, Lawrence, Lee, Lipscomb, Lomax, Lovern, Marcus, McCampbell, McClammy, Mooney, Moore M, Moore P, Morris, Oliver, Paramore, Pascal, Pettis, Pringle, Rafferty, Ream, Reynolds, Rigsby, Robbins, Robertson, Ross, Sellers, Sells, Shaver, Shaw, Shiree, Simpson, Smith, Sorrells, Stodhagen, Standridge, Starnes, Stringer, Stubbs, Tillman, Travis, Treadaway, Underwood, Wadsworth, Warren, Whit, Wharton, Wilcox, Wood D, Wood R, Woods, Yarborough.
"61 members have answered roll. Quorum is present, and the House is ready to transact business. The chair recognizes Representative Shaw for a special recognition.
Arigato, Mr. Speaker. As you know, most members will remember that last year we formed the Alabama-Japan Caucus, or the Legislative Exchange. This group was to foster friendship and cultural exchange between the House and the people of Japan. Today, we have a special day of recognition honoring the special relationship between Japan and Alabama. Throughout the day, we'll be receiving gifts from school children from Japan that live in Alabama and go to school here. So be on the lookout for those, some paper origami and some bookmarks and some great, very nice things that they have made. Also, at the end of session in room 200, we have 14 companies and groups representing Japan, and they're very excited to meet representatives. So please don't please don't forget that. At this point, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I would like to recognize a couple people in the chamber.
Mission granted.
All right. We have two special guests today. We have Mr. Mark Jackson, who's the Honorary Consul General of Japan for Alabama, and Mr. Mio Maeda, Consul General of Japan in Atlanta, representing the nation of Japan. So thank you very much for being here. And with that, I would request that the resolution honoring this day be read.
Mr. Clerk, let's read the resolution.
Whereas the state of Alabama and the nation of Japan are established partners in the global economy, with mutual trade in 2022 between Alabama and Japan reaching nearly $2 billion, including mineral fuel, aircraft, spacecraft, vehicles, wood pulp, paper, organic and inorganic chemicals, machinery, computers, media equipment, ammunition, pharmaceuticals, and financial services. And whereas Japanese companies have invested over $20 billion in Alabama, making Japan the #1 foreign direct investor in the state. 20,000 jobs have been created in Alabama, including 8,100 jobs since 2018, by investment from Japanese companies, which include Honda Manufacturing of Alabama, Mazda Toyota Manufacturing USA Incorporated, Protective Life, Toyota Motor Manufacturing Alabama Incorporated, Rheem Manufacturing Company, and Daikin America Incorporated. And whereas, in addition to being a regional ally, Japan is a key partner of the United States on the international stage, collaborating with our nation in many critical areas that include global security, development assistance, environmental protection, new energy technologies, supercomputing, critical materials, and space. And whereas students at Alabama University and colleges have been enriched college and Miles College. And whereas the people of Alabama and Japan have enjoyed rich and rewarding friendships and cultural exchange through intercity relationships, including Birmingham Hitachi, Anniston Tatsuno, Tuscaloosa Narashino, Dothan Sakado, Mobile Ichihara, Montevallo Ichisen, and Birmingham Maebashi. The Japanese garden in the Birmingham Botanical Gardens is recognized by the government of Japan as an official Japanese cultural center, and many Alabamians take a lively interest in Japanese culture through organizations such as bonsai and garden societies, exhibitions, events such as the Sakura Festival in Tuscaloosa and the Japan America Society of Alabama. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the Legislature of Alabama that on this day, March 4th, 2025, we hereby honor the long-lasting friendship between the state of Alabama, this body, and the nation of Japan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank the guests for being with us today. Would like to recognize in the gallery the BTW Magnet High School and McIntyre Academy students from Montgomery delegation, also the Mayor's Young Professional Council from Montgomery, and they also are here with the Montgomery delegation. Let's give them a big hand. Also, we have Leadership Lake Martin from Tallapoosa County, Representative Aller and Chief Tuggle. Let's give them a big hand. The chair recognizes Representative Pascal for a point of personal privilege.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Members of the body, I'm proud. I'm a proud member of the Alabama Semi-Quincentennial Commission, and I'd like to share about the Semi-Quincentennial School program that we're initiating. July the 4th, 2026, we are celebrating our 250th birthday as a nation. And we want to encourage your schools to become a semi-quincentennial school. How can they become a semi-quincentennial school, you may ask? They can go to the website of America250al.org, click on the education tab, sign up. This is a very simple form. Once they do that, we're going to make sure each school get a flag, and we're going to ask our legislators to take part in presenting the flag to your school. So I just want to give you a heads up, that's going to take place this fall. Also, a couple more things. Looking ahead to July the 4th, 2026, our state celebration will be centered around American Village in Montevallo, but we also want to make sure that we celebrate our local communities. You would notice in the governor's budget request, she's allocating funds, a grant opportunity for your cities, counties, and commissions to apply, and you can use that money to help with the fireworks or any other ways to celebrate. We want to just encourage everyone, we're going to launch this. And for more information, go to our website at America250al.org. Mr. Speaker, members, thank you for the opportunity to share about our semi-quincentennial July 4th, 2026.
Thank you, Representative Pascal. Appreciate the information. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Lee, Chairman Lovern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request that leaves of absence be granted for absent members.
Any objections? Hearing no objection, absent members are excused. Chair further recognizes the gentleman from Lee, Chairman Lovern.
Mr. Speaker, I have a report.
House of Representatives, your Standing Committee on Rules begs leave to report that it has carefully examined the Journal of the House for the 10th legislative day and finds the same to be correct. Signed, Representative Joe Lovern, Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the reading of the journal at length for the 10th legislative day be dispensed with.
Any objections? Hearing no objections, the reading of the journal is dispensed with. The chair recognizes Chairman Lovern for the purpose of making announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For receptions and events, today is the Petroleum and Convenience Marketers of Alabama Advocacy Day. Habitat for Humanity Legislative Wall is on the lawn of the Capitol. Lunch is still available out there. If anyone, they'll be there till 2 p.m. Japan Day with presentations and exchange. Meeting in room 200 at 5 p.m. or after adjournment. School Superintendents of Alabama Legislative Reception at 5 p.m. at the warehouse. Association of Alabama Tax Administrators Legislative Reception 5 to 7 at the Alabama Association of Realtors Building. The Birmingham Business Alliance Legislative Reception is at 5 to 7 at RSA Plaza. And for tomorrow, Wednesday morning, Main Street Alabama Breakfast is 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. at the Alabama Cattlemen's Association.
Chairman Lovern, you're further recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I move that when we adjourn today, that we leave the journal open to allow the clerk to complete his paperwork, and that we reconvene on Wednesday, March the 5th at 3 p.m.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion prevails. Clerk will now receive the reports. Standing Committee to receive those reports throughout the day. The House is now in position to introduce bills and resolutions.
House Joint Resolution number 94 by Representative Rigsby, celebrating the life and mourning the death of Kimberly Beth Fannin Vaughn. House Joint Resolution number 98 by Representative Jackson, honoring Woody Pugh for his distinguished service to education and public service. Senate Joint Resolution number 24 by Senator Chambliss, commending Mr. Joseph A. Chambliss and Mrs. Geraldine Maria Chambliss for outstanding achievement and dedication to their native state, Alabama. Senate Joint Resolution number 27 by Senator Elliott, honoring the life and legacy of Lieutenant Colonel George A. Garzon.
I move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? They are adopted.
House Joint Resolution number 97 by Representative Oliver, extending the Chronic Weight Management and Type 2 Diabetes Task Force.
I move adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Clark, Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the recognition. I arise this afternoon to commend two schools in my district for being state basketball champions this year. In single A, 1A, we have Robert C. Hatch High School out of Uniontown, Alabama. Yeah, Bobcats. Defeating Brantley 69-67. And yes, in Clark County, Alabama, Jackson, the Aggies of Jackson, Alabama, who defeated Plainview. Anybody understanding Plainview? Point of order. 40-42 on Friday evening in Birmingham, Alabama. And I want to say my condolences to the speaker. Thank you so very kindly.
Wait, whoa.
What a game.
Since this will be your only time to the mic today,
It usually that way anyway. Thank you for letting me come early.
let me say so.
It was great.
When I was a junior in high school, we played R.C. Hatch in the finals and got beat by 2 points for a state championship. And then y'all beat me with Jackson this week by 2 points. So not that I harbor any hard feelings, but congratulations. Y'all got a great team.
They have, and they proved something to themselves. Last year, first time ever, and they repeated. And that's something that's unseen.
That's a big
Thank
deal.
you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Chair recognizes the gentleman from St. Clair, Judge Hill. Judge Hill, you want to speak? Ms. Clerk, let's move on to local bills.
On page 36 of the calendar, House Bill number 274, a constitutional amendment by Representative Sells relating to Crenshaw County.
Okay, I will remind members this is a constitutional amendment requiring 63 votes. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 64 ayes, 0 nays. The BR has been adopted. Question for the body now is final passage of HB 274. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. This is the constitutional amendment requiring 63 votes. Clerk will lock machine, record the votes. 67 ayes, 0 nays. HB 274 has been passed. The question for the body now is local application, also requiring 63 votes. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 65 ayes, 0 nays. HB 274 has passed. Ms. Clerk, let's call up the next bill.
On page 35 of the calendar, House Bill number 313 by Representative Lee, relating to Houston County.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 61 ayes, 0 nays, 37 abstentions. BR has been adopted. Question for the body now is final passage of HB 313. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 23 ayes, 0 nays. HB 313 has passed. Ms. Clerk, let's call up the next bill.
On page 36 of the calendar, House Bill number 314 by Representative Lee, relating to Houston County.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 61 ayes, 0 nays. The BR has been adopted. Question now is final passage of HB 314. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 17 ayes, 0 nays. HB 314 has passed. Ms. Clerk, let's call the next bill, please.
On page 36 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 139 by Senator Livingston, relating to the city of Scottsboro.
Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the votes. 54 ayes, 0 nays. BR has been adopted. Question now is final passage of SB 139. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 11 ayes, 0 nays. SB 139 has passed. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Lee, Chairman Lovern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a resolution.
Clerk, see the resolution.
House Resolution number 104 by the House Rules Committee, the special order calendar.
Chairman Lovern, you're recognized.
Move for adoption.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted.
Thank you.
Ms. Clerk, let's call up first bill.
On page 15 of the calendar, House Bill number 309 with substitute by Representative Garrett, relating to PHIP.
Chairman Garrett, you're recognized.
Thank you for recognition, Mr. Speaker. Under current law, PHIP must renegotiate its health care contracts at least every 3 years. HB 309 would allow PHIP to renegotiate its retiree health care contract every 5 years instead, as this could lead to more favorable rates for these types of contracts. Mr. Speaker, I ask for the BIR. There's a substitute.
Yeah, this question for the body is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 100 ayes, 0 nays. BR has been adopted. Chairman Garrett.
Mr. Speaker, move for final passage.
I've got a substitute.
Adoption of sub, please.
Yeah, you care to explain your substitute for
That
us.
was just technical word changes.
Yeah, you've heard the gentleman's explanation, this technicality on the changing of words. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the votes. 97 ayes, 0 nays. The sub has been adopted. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, move for final passage.
That's question, final passage, HB 309. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote, 96 ayes, 0 nays, 3 abstentions. HB 309 has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members.
Thank you, gentlemen. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 14 of the calendar, House Bill number 226 with substitute by Representative Crawford relating to the homestead exemption.
Chairman Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 226 deals with property tax exemptions. Present law allows exemptions if you're 100% disabled. This bill will extend that exemption to the surviving spouse as long as that spouse remains unmarried and in that primary residence. Mr. Speaker, with that, I ask for the BIR.
Yeah, you heard the explanation of the bill. The question for the body now is the passage of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes, 97 ayes, 0 nays. BR has been adopted. Chairman Crawford.
Mr. Speaker, there was a committee amendment.
You carried it. Explain the, I'm showing a substitute. You care to explain it?
The sub deals with the deed that the person who is requesting that exemption, the surviving spouse has to have their name on that deed, as well as it only applies to the house, the residence of the day of the death of the head of household.
Yeah, you've heard the explanation of sub. Chair recognizes a gentleman from Marengo, Representative McCampbell, speaking on the sub.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the recognition. The gentleman yield.
Yes, sir.
Now, that name would need to be on the deed prior to the death. Is that what you're saying with the sub?
No,
It can go on after death?
When they made a request for that exemption, then their name would need to be on that deed.
At the time of the request for the exemption?
That's right, to continue that exemption. If the husband and wife are both on the deed, but if the husband was on it and the wife, if the one spouse was on it and the other spouse was not, and they inherited the house, then they need to be on the deed then.
Okay, so they could actually go on the deed, and oftentimes people will buy a house in one name, and then later on.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but most times, if it's a husband and wife, they are on the deed. They just may not be on the
Yes, sir.
the financing contract.
Well, it's a good bill for veterans, first responders that are 100% disabled, that exemption would go to their surviving spouse.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentleman. The question for the body now is adoption of the committee sub. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes, 96 ayes, 0 nays. Committee sub has been adopted. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I ask for final passage.
That is questions final passage of HB 226 as substituted. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes, 103 ayes, 0 nays. HB 226 has passed as substituted.
Mr. Speaker, I have a request to open it up for co-sponsors.
Ms. Clerk, let's open it up for co-sponsors for the members. Okay. Looks like we got 71 co-sponsors. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and members of the body.
Mr. Clerk, let's call up the next bill.
On page 5 of the calendar, House Bill number 212 with substitute by Representative Kirkland relating to state waters.
Representative Kirkland, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the recognition. Members, House Bill 212. This bill would require persons engaging in the business of cutting or uprooting aquatic plants in public waters to employ certain methods to ensure cut and uprooted plant matter is removed from these waters. This bill would also provide criminal penalties for violating this requirement. With that, I move for the BIR.
As questions, adoption of the BIR, clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes. 98 ayes, 0 nays. BR has been adopted. Representative Kirkland.
Mr. Speaker, I have a committee sub that basically changed the language on lines 35 and 36 to read, methods of removing any cut, trimmed, severed, or uprooted aquatic plant matter from public waters.
Okay, you've heard the explanation of the committee sub. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 101 ayes, 0 nays. Committee sub has been adopted.
Mr. Speaker, I move to substitute Senate Bill 64 for House Bill 212.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? It has been substituted.
Move to adopt the BIR on Senate Bill 64.
That's questions adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 103 ayes, 0 nays. BR has been adopted.
Move for final passage.
That is questions final passage of SB 64. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Jackson, represented from Clark. Ward Jackson is.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to ask the gentleman a question. Does the Senate bill same that is the same as the
It's
what
exactly the same. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Question for the body is passage of SB 64. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes. 103 ayes, 0 nays. SB 64 has passed.
Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you, gentlemen.
members.
Clerk, call next bill.
On page 32 of the calendar, House Bill number 96 by Representative Robertson relating to public schools.
Representative Robinson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 96 would open up high schools that do signing ceremonies for individuals going to college for sports. It would open them up to be able to do signing days for post-secondary school education commitments, apprenticeship programs, and military enlistments to be excused from the class. This bill would also require high school to provide reasonable accommodations for those activities. With that, I ask for the passage of the BIR.
That is questions passage of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes. 100 ayes, 0 nays. BR has been adopted. Representative Robertson.
With that, Speaker, I'd ask for final passage.
And that is the questions final passage of HB 96. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote. 101 ayes, 0 nays. HB 96 has passed.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to open this up for co-sponsors, if that's okay.
That'll be fine. Ms. Clerk, let's open it up for co-sponsors. Mr. Clerk, let's close it. 64 co-sponsors.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Clerk, call next bill.
On page 16 of the calendar, House Bill number 315 by Representative Lovern relating to the sales tax.
Chair recognizes Chairman Lovern.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, HB 315 is not a new sales tax holiday. It's an expansion of our two existing, just on a index of cost of items for our back-to-school holiday and emergency preparedness holiday to take those items from an individual dollar amount that was established when it was first there to a consumer price index so it would reflect inflation to make sure people could maximize their purchases on the back-to-school and the emergency preparedness. And with that, ask for the BIR.
That is questions. Adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Recorded vote, 102 ayes, 0 nays. BR has been adopted. Mr. Chairman.
If no questions, ask for final passage, Mr. Speaker.
That is questions. Final passage of HB 315. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote, 100 ayes, 0 nays. HB 315 has passed.
Mr. Speaker, I've been asked if I would open that up for co-sponsors.
That's questions opened up for co-sponsors, Mr. Clerk. See how we got. All right, let's close it. 84 co-sponsors on the bill, 85. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body.
Clerk, call next bill.
On page 11 of the calendar, House Bill number 151 by Representative Travis relating to license plates.
Representative Travis, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This existing bill, an existing law, volunteer firefighters are eligible to receive a firefighter distinction license plate. This bill would expand eligibility for the firefighter distinction license plate to include fire chaplains. And this bill would also provide a criminal penalty for anyone who fails to obtain a distinction firefighter plate. We passed this bill last year and it died in the Senate. For that, I will ask for the BIR.
That is questions. Adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 102 ayes, 0 nays. BIR has been adopted.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, thank you. Now I ask for final passage.
There's questions. Final passage of HB 151. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Chairman Garrett. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 102 ayes, 0 nays. HB 151 has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, gentlemen. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 25 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 25 by Senator Gudger relating to development districts.
Representative Wadsworth, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill allows the funds from the the funds have already passed, but it just allows to be distributed throughout the county as opposed just in the district.
Okay, you've heard the explanation. Question for the body is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 97 ayes, 0 nays. The BIR has been adopted.
On SB 25, if no questions, we ask for final passage.
That is questions. Final passage of HB 25. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the votes. 98 ayes, 1 nay. SB 25 has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank the body.
Thank you, gentlemen. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 30 of the calendar, House Bill number 194 with substitute by Representative Lee relating to Medical Examiners Board and Nursing Board.
Chairman Lee, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I take a moment of personal privilege?
Yes, sir, you can.
Okay. Many of you may have heard of the gentleman by the name of Harry Wayne Parrish. He was a coach down in Dothan. He coached, had a lineman coach for years in Dothan High School. He was a head coach at Northview, won 2 state championships, and then went to Georgia a few years and was runner-up in a state championship. He was my coach I will tell you, everyone has people that influence them. Other than my parents, he probably influenced me more than anybody that I ever met. And I had the opportunity to get to know him afterwards through business, but he was just a gentleman, but tough. He taught you that there was nothing that comes free, that you have to work for it. He passed away yesterday, and I would like to have a moment of silence for him, and for his family as well, but the hundreds, literally thousands of young men that he made an impact on, and I was one of those, and hopefully it results in a positive one. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank the gentleman.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. All right. This bill, let me get my thoughts back together here. We'll make adjustments to a working board. It's a joint committee that deals with physicians and collaborative nurses, which will include registered midwife, and will remove a regular RN to a certified regular nurse, those that collaborate with the physicians. And there is an amendment to it, and what the amendment does, so everyone will know, rather than it was a agreed upon amendment of how these people were chosen. So everyone involved is okay with how they're chosen and then the change. So, Mr. Speaker, I move for BIR.
That is question for the body is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 109, 0 nays. The BIR has been adopted. You've heard the gentleman's explanation of the sub. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 102 ayes, 0 nays. Substitute has been adopted. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I move final passage.
That is questions final
amended.
passage. That's substituted. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the votes. 97 ayes, 0 nays. HB 194 as substitute has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and the body.
Thank the gentleman. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 9 of the calendar, House Bill number 209 with substitute by Representative DuBose relating to jury duty.
Representative DuBose, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm here to present HB 209, known as Parker's Bill. This exempts nursing mothers from jury duty for up to 24 months. I'm also expecting a friendly amendment from the floor. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I move for the BIR.
That is question of the body is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the votes. 100 ayes, 0 nays. The BIR has been adopted.
Mr. Speaker, I move for adoption of the committee sub.
Here to explain your sub to us, please.
The sub added where we named the bill Parker's Law for the precious little 3-month-old baby that had to accompany his mother all the way down to the Jefferson County courthouse, spend time all afternoon there. And it also required that a mother provide an affidavit certifying that she is a nursing mother.
Yeah, you've heard the explanation of the committee sub. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 102 ayes, 0 nays. Sub has been adopted. Representative Bose.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I expect a friendly amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative.
Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I offer a floor amendment that would replace lines.
Clerk, see the amendment.
Amendment to House Bill number 209 by Representative Lands.
Here to explain your amendment now, please.
Thank you. So the amendment would replace lines 64 through 65 on page 3 with the following. Subdivision B3 shall provide to the court a written statement that she is a nursing mother and a certificate of birth or other government document or medical record certifying the birth of the child she is nursing. So this simply would verify that the mother has given birth and is a nursing mom.
Representative Bose, you recognize this friendly amendment.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that bill, Representative Lands. I appreciate it.
Okay, you've heard the explanation of the amendment. The sponsor views it as a friendly amendment. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 102 ayes, 0 nays. The amendment has been adopted. Representative Bose.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I move for final passage of HB 209 as substituted and amended.
That is questions final passage of HB 209. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the votes. 103 ayes, 0 nays. HB 209 has passed as amended and substituted.
And Mr. Speaker, I would like to open the floor for co-sponsors.
Ms. Clerk, let's open it up for co-sponsors. With 79 co-sponsors. Let's thank the lady.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, body.
Clerk, call next bill.
On page 31 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 80 by Senator Butler relating to the Alabama Training Institute.
Representative Woods, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From 1974 through 2009, the late O.H. Buddy Sharpless III served as the Executive Director of the Association of County Commissions of Alabama, and during his tenure, spearheaded the passage of legislation creating the Alabama Local Government Training Institute and mandating the essential training of newly elected county commissioners, which I was one of those county commissioners. Since the Institute's creation in 1994, thousands of county commissioners have received county training on budgeting, finance, public works, community relations, personal management, ethics, and various other important topics to equip them with the knowledge and resources to best serve local citizens. This bill would rename the Institute as the Buddy Sharpless Education Institute. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I'd ask for the BIR.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Dallas, Representative Chestnut.
Does the lady yield?
No, yes, I will.
I just want to say that, and you know I've talked to you about this, that I've been working with and collaborating with and serving as lawyer for county commissions for at least 20 years now.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things I did starting off as a young lawyer is that I would from time to time have to call the association and get information. Hey, I ran into this situation here, this and that. Buddy Sharpless was always someone that would take our calls and methodically walk us through an issue. He is just well respected throughout the state from every county commissioner that served during his tenure. And so this is an amazing thing that you're doing, and I support it 100%.
Thank you, Representative. I appreciate those kind words. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentleman. The question for the body now is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock machine. Members will vote. Clerk will lock machine. Record the vote. 100 ayes, 0 nays. BIR has been adopted. Representative Wood.
Mr. Speaker, may I have final passage?
That is questions final passage of SB 80. Clerk will unlock machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock machine. Record the vote. 102 ayes, 0 nays. SB 80 has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members.
Thank the lady. We have some guests in the gallery we'd like to recognize. Dr. Sidney Brown from Tuskegee, the guest of Pebbleton and Warren. Let's give him a big thank you for being with us today. Also, we have from Tuscaloosa County Engineer Scott Anders and Trace Kiss, the guest of Bill Lamb, Ron Bolt, Cynthia Ullman, and Brian Brinyard. Let's give them a big hand. Thank you for being with us today. Also, we have a guest for Parker Moore, our former colleague, Prauncey Robertson. Let's give him a big hand. Thank you for being with us today. Also, the Alabama tax administrators in the gallery, and specifically from my county, Tyler Wilkes. Let's give them a big hand. Thank y'all for being here today. Also, the tax assessor for Tuscaloosa County, Leanne Fair, guest of Lamb, Bolton, Almond, and Brinyard. Thank you for being with us today as well. Mr. Clerk, let's call the next bill.
On page 15 of the calendar, House Bill number 24 with substitute by Representative Oliver relating to the Volunteer Rescue Program.
Chairman Oliver.
Mr. Speaker and body, relating to emergency medical services personnel education, to amend the sections of the code to further provide for the Volunteer Rescue Squad tuition reimbursement program by authorizing the Alabama Department of Public Health through its designated regional agencies of the Office of Emergency Medical Services to provide education and receive tuition reimbursement under the programs and to make non-substantive technical revisions to update the existing code language to current style. Actually, this is simply to extend the ability to reimburse for training for folks like at volunteer fire departments and that sort of thing under the auspices of the junior college system. With that, I'd like to ask for a B hour.
Next question is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 102 ayes, 0 nays. BIR has been adopted. Mr. Chairman.
And Mr. Speaker, I have a substitute.
Mr. Jackson, you don't speak on the substitute or the bill? Okay. You care to explain your substitute for him, please?
All right. The Alabama Department of Public Health shall adopt a rule imposing a monetary cap on the amount of tuition costs that may be reimbursed for students who complete the program of instruction through a designated regional EMS agency, and it shall not exceed any cap in effect on the amount of reimbursement tuition costs for the Alabama Fire College. Simply puts a cap on the amount of reimbursement.
Ms. Hall, you don't speak on the substitute? Okay. Chair recognizes the lady from Madison, Representative Hall. Speaking on the substitute.
Thank you. So I'm looking at what I think is your sub.
Yes, ma'am.
And are you saying I'm on page 5, line 24, 124 through 128? Is that the information, or is it at a different location?
Let me catch up with you. I apologize for having to dig around there.
Listen, when you have a bill, you have to have everything that you need.
Page 5?
So I'm on, page 5, and I'm line 124. You stated that the Department of Public Health would adopt the rules.
Right.
Okay. So this is, but there are some other parts of this other than that. They also, on page 4, you have the public health, also the monetary cap. So there's 2 different functions that they're doing. And am I reading it right? Page at the bottom of page 4.
Yeah, I'm looking at what you're saying there. Actually, the Department of Public Health, through the Regional EMS Council, same institution.
So they're working with the EMS
Right,
council.
right.
Does it say that?
It does. The Alabama
Did I
Department.
miss it?
Yes, ma'am. If you look at the, in the sub, in Part B on line 24, that's exactly what that says.
Line 24.
124.
Now, 124, Alabama Department shall adopt. It doesn't rule imposing monetary cap through a designated.
Well, and I tell you what, look at, back up to 113, 114. Read the rest of that paragraph right there. And then it explains what the role of the fire college is and why we have the cap.
Okay, so
how we
it
have the
said,
cap.
so each region, okay, I see it, through a designated regional. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Question for the body now is adoption of the committee sub. Clerk will unlock machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock machine, record the votes. 99 ayes, 0 nays. Substitute has been adopted, Mr. Chairman.
Final passage.
That's questions. Final passage of HB 24 as adopted, amended. Clerk will unlock machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock machine, record the vote. 102 ayes, 0 nays. HB 24 has passed.
Mr. Speaker, could we open this up to the body?
We can. Ms. Clerk, it's opened up for co-sponsors. Clerk, close the machine with 74 co-sponsors.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, gentlemen. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 26 of the calendar, House Bill number 335 with substitute by Representative Witt relating to building permits.
Chairman Reynolds, before you start, we got a group in the gallery. Let me announce them before they have to leave. Leadership Shelby County, youth leadership from Shelby County. They are the guests of Mooney, Betso, Ellis, Carnes, Halsey, DeBose, and Pascal. Let's give them a big hand. Thank y'all for being with us. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, if you'd allow me to carry Representative Witt's bill, he was abruptly called from the chamber, and I said I would cover it for him. Members, HB 335 by Representative Andy Witt creates the Alabama Construction Trade Academy Act. We did this in Madison County under our local legislation. This is where the academy brings in local workers or potential workforce, trains them in hands-on trades such as plumbing, HVAC, construction. It even has a simulator there to operate heavy equipment. It's been a huge success. Again, this simply gives your county an option to do the same, to increase the fee, the building fees to establish the academy within your county. And Mr. Speaker, I have a sub.
Question for the body now is adoption of the BIR.
Okay.
Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock machine. Record the vote. 96 ayes, 5 nays. BR has been adopted. Chairman Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. He has a sub.
Here to explain your sub for us.
Yes, on page 4, lines 103 through 106, the appointing authority shall coordinate their appointments to assure the advisory council membership is inclusive and reflects the racial, gender, geographic, urban, rural, and economic diversity of the state.
Yeah, you've heard the explanation of the sub. Question for the body is adoption of the sub. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the votes. 98 ayes, 0 nays. Substitute has been adopted. Mr. Chairman.
Would ask for final passage.
That's questions. Final passage of HB 335. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 90 ayes, 9 nays. HB 335 as sub has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, gentlemen. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 11 of the calendar, House Bill number 282 with substitute by Representative Marcus relating to government administration.
Representative Marcus, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 282 is needing some work done on it. It needs a little bit more clarity. So we are going to ask to make a motion to carry this over, please.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? It has been carried over.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, gentlemen. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 18 of the calendar, House Bill number 251 by Representative Butler, relating to sex offenders.
Representative Butler, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is actually already adopted in 38 states. And what it does, it would provide that a sex offender convicted of a sex offense where the victim was 12 years of age or younger may not use a P.O. box, electronic media, including but not limited to a computer, tablet, gaming system, or a phone that allows access to the internet, except when approved by his or her probation officer or parole officer. This bill would also provide that the Board of Pardons and Parole or a court, as a condition of release, may require an adult sex offender to receive sex offender treatment, and the treatment may include, but not be limited to, periodic polygraph examinations. And with that, I would move for the BR.
Ask questions, adoption of the BR. Clerk will unlock the machine and members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes. 95 ayes, 0 nays. The BR has been adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would move for final passage, but I am anticipating a friendly amendment.
Okay, Chair recognizes the gentleman from Calhoun, Representative Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
I just want to replace lines 32 on page 2 with the following.
Wait a minute, let's let the clerk receive the amendment.
Sorry.
Okay.
Amendment to
Yeah,
House
40.
Bill number 251 by Representative Robertson.
Okay. Now explain us your amendment.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to replace lines 32 on page 2 with the following. Certain sex offenders may be prohibited by a parole or probation officer from utilizing a post. Replace lines 37 on page 2 with the following. 15 through 20A through 44 Code of Alabama 1975 to authorize the Board of Replace lines 43 through 45 on page 2 with the following. A, an adult sex offender convicted of sex offense involving a child may be restricted by his or her parole or probation officer for the using of post office box or possessing an electronic media, including but not. Replace lines 47 through 49 on page 2 with the following. Allows access to the internet. B, a person knowingly violates a restriction imposed pursuant to subsection A, shall. Replace lines 107 through 109 on page 4 with the following. D, the director of the Board of Pardon and Paroles may adopt rules necessary to implement and enforce sections 15, TAC 20A, TAC 20.01. And that is, these are recommended by Leah and Pardons and Parole.
Chair recognizes the lady from Madison, Representative Hall, speaking on the amendment.
Hey, you got the bill? You have the original?
Thank you. Would the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you gave me a lot.
Yes,
A
ma'am.
lot. So I'm going to start. You didn't do anything on page 1, right?
Page 2, line 32 is where we start.
Okay. So on page 2, line 32, that section is going to read, certain sex offenders be prohibited by, what was the rest of your statement?
It will read, certain sex offenders may be prohibited by a parole or probation officer from utilizing a post.
Utilizing a post. So I'm talking about the post office box.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's the part that you've added to what I have.
Yes, ma'am.
House Bill 251.
Well, no, that you're replacing that line. Replace, yes, that with that. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So the section that you added on line 37, it says section 1520A. What was the other number? because it had 152844. What was the other number?
That is correct. The 1520A-44, Code of Alabama,
Oh,
1975.
that was already there. That's what I was trying to determine. Okay. And then to require the,
Okay.
on that same line, 37, to require the,
It changes the word from require to authorize.
require the authorization of the board or require to authorize the board?
To authorize.
Wait a minute. Read that again for me.
It would change to authorize the board of.
Okay, so we're deleting require. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
authorize. All right. All right, down on the next line 43 through 49. Did you totally delete that?
It's line 43 through 45.
Through 45.
Yes, ma'am. And it's an adult sex offender convicted of a sex offense involving a child may be restricted by his or her parole or probation officer from using a post office box or possessing any electronic media, including but not. And then it would pick up.
Okay. How did we come up with the 8? How did we come up with this 8 at this age level? Age 12?
It changed from 8 to 12. It went from 8 up to 12.
Initially?
I believe, yes, on this. It was 8 in here and it went to 12.
We're not hit.
I missed that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just
I'm
put
sorry.
child.
Okay, we just put child. We took the age.
12.
It deleted 12 completely. So it's a child. It doesn't have an age anymore. It just says child restricted. So if they're convicted of this,
Okay. Help
Rini.
me. Help me. Go read what is supposed. So when I get to, you're saying that it is removing the age, the number 12, and saying for a child. sex
or a
offense-
child. So if the victim is a child under our law,
Are you talking about the victim?
yes, ma'am.
Is a okay. All right. Is under the age of 12. Okay. So read that statement again, because I missed that.
Okay. An adult sex offender convicted of a sex offense involving a child may be restricted by his or her parole or probation officer from using a post office box or possessing any electronic media,
I got it.
including but not.
And that was starting on line 43, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got that. All right. On line 49, you had a person who knowingly violates.
A restriction imposed pursuant to subsection A shall.
A person who knowingly violates a restriction. And what was the section?
Imposed pursuant to subsection A, and it shall.
And now the subsection A, is that what I'm reading now? I'm trying to make sure I'm following with the amendment. Subsection A is not on line 52, the Board of Pardons and Parole. Is that going to that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And so those are the penalties. All right, good. Let's see. Did I get everything?
Your 107 through 109 is the last
Right.
change on
Exactly.
page 4,
Yes.
and it shall read D, the director of the Board of Pardon and Parole may adopt rules necessary to implement and enforce section 15-20A-20.01.
So you removed from shall to may. You went from shall to may.
And executive.
And executive.
I'm sorry?
It said executive director. That's
Right,
what we.
but I'm saying, so who does it now?
You're correct on what you just said.
Right, but who does it now? The executive director is the executive director of the Board of Pardon and Parole responsible for adopting the rules that are implemented?
It just changed it to director instead of adding executive.
Executive director. But I'm saying, and then So if the executive director doesn't do it, who does it then? Because it said may adopt, it doesn't say shall.
The director. It would be the
So
director.
it's still responsibility of the director. But if
Yes.
the director chooses not to, then it doesn't happen.
That's correct. Yes.
Thanks. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
It does?
Yeah.
May.
I think it was just a word on that one. It was just a word correction.
I'm just trying to determine as we look at these and we put this kind of emphasis on and looking at the age, how do we go from shall to may? And it makes it applicable to what I'm thinking. That's all.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, the question is on passage of the amendment. Those in favor of the amendment, vote aye, and those opposed, vote no. The clerk will unlock the machines and the members will vote.
Mrs. Speaker,
Thank you, Ms.
I've been asked to open it up for co-sponsors, if I may.
Wait 1 second, we're not quite that far. Okay.
On the amendment.
So the amendment is adopted. What's that say? 97 yeas, 0 nays. Okay, the amendment's adopted. Now the question is on final passage of the bill. Those in favor of the bill, vote aye, and those opposed, vote no. The clerk unlock the machines and the members will vote. Clerk, lock the machine and record the vote. We have 90 yeas, 0 nays, and the bill is adopted. And I believe you want to open this up for co-sponsors?
Yes, ma'am, please.
All right. Clerk, please open the machine for co-sponsors. Clerk, close the machine. Record the vote.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank clerk. Call the next bill.
On page 35 of the calendar, House Bill number 295 by Representative Allman relating to military punishment.
Speaker Alman, you're recognized.
Working overtime today, I tell you that. Okay, Mr. Speaker, this is HB 295. This is one of the military bills, and it is a bill that we actually amended last year, and this year we're making a few little additional minor changes to it. And we also, I expect a friendly amendment to be offered. So I'll first call for the BIR.
What's for the body's adoption of the BIR? Clerk will unlock machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock machine. Record the votes.
Fun.
98 ayes, 0 nays. BR has been adopted. Representative Alman.
Yes, sir. Mr. Pascal has an amendment.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Shelby. Representative Pascal.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the recognition. I have a friendly amendment.
Clerk, see the amendment.
Amendment to House Bill number 295 by Representative Pascal.
Care to explain your amendment, Representative Pascal?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Replace line 68 on page 3 with the following. Officer of a general or flag rank is command may impose any. Replace lines 71 through 72 on page 3 with the following. Punishment authorized in subdivisions 1 through 4, and then 7, 8 of subsection D. Replace line 77 on page 3 with the following. Enlisted member that are E5 through E9.
How do you accept the amendment?
This is a friendly amendment.
Okay, you've heard the explanation of the amendment, and the sponsor said it is a friendly amendment. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Clark speaking on the amendment. Representative Jackson.
Here, gonna switch over, I think. You want to talk to me or you want to talk to me?
I didn't get this amendment, Mr. Speaker. I'm trying to figure out what he was trying to say, even though she said it was a friendly.
Well, I gave it the amendment to the most important person in here when it comes to amendments. That's Representative Hall. I'm,
What does it do? Other than change the numbers? Let me ask Scott, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could you, what is military punishment?
the UCMJ. Well, that's just kind of, every now and then somebody, one or two people in the military might get out of line, so you got to kind of, have policy procedures to encourage them to stay in line with the
Chain of command.
Chain of command. That's exactly right.
So even I'm telling you that. I asked you, and you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. He cleared it up. Thank you so much.
Sure, thanks, the gentleman. Question of the body is adoption of the amendment. Clerk will unlock the machine, and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes, 100 ayes, 0 nays. The amendment has been adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Passage.
Representative Almond.
The call for final passage.
That is questions. Final passage as amended. Clerk will unlock the machine, and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes, 95 ayes, 0 nays. HB 295 has passed as amended.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, lady. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 29 of the calendar, House Bill number 146 with substitute by Representative Pettis relating to criminal procedure.
Chairman Pettis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What this bill does, it says if you commit the crime of murder, you do not get youthful offender. With that, I call for the BIR.
Questions. Adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine, and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote, 73 ayes, 23 nays. BR has been adopted. Mr. Chairman,
We have a committee sub.
you care to explain what the committee sub is, please?
What the committee sub does, the capital murder was left off. This changes, it includes capital murder.
Ms. Boyd, you want to speak on the sub or the bill? Okay, yes, ma'am, thank you. Question, Ms. Hall, the sub or the bill? Sub. Chair recognizes the lady from Madison, Representative Hall. Speaking on the sub.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
I can't remember, but it's been a few years back. There was a court case about juveniles in the courts being having extended time at early ages of committing crimes such as this. So I am no way coming in and said that I support anybody committing heinous crimes. That's not it. But when we understand and know the impact that many things have on the lives, and if we look at the statistics on these individuals that are in prison, that they generally are, if you look at, let's say take Alabama, the average individual that is in prison today probably is, what is that, a 6th grade level?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, 6th grade, when you're 6th grade, that's what, like age 11 or 12?
Yes.
It seems that we have failed these young people. And I know we are challenged. I'll give you another example. I saw this game, road rage or auto theft, the kids were playing. And those games, to me, I felt like just desensitized these young people to have an opportunity to play these games. It sets them up to think it's okay for going out and doing some of the things that we've seen. But the other part of that is, my concern is that we're putting emphasis on, and I certainly am not in support of anybody killing anybody. That's not my position. But I am in support of us making sure that whatever resources are available, that that child has it, I believe that every child that walks into a classroom for to have and has a teacher in that classroom, that teacher, one, should be qualified for that position,
Yeah.
should be certified in that position, and should believe that every child can learn. Now, some of us, it takes longer than others,
Yes, it does.
but every child can learn. And I'm not sure that we have provided what I believe are the necessary resources for us to decrease what you're attempting to do. So could you give me some idea of why you feel that it's important for this bill? Because I think we had it earlier at, what, 16?
Well, what this amendment does, it's still, well, there's a floor amendment coming, making it under 21. The DAs didn't like the way this was worded, and it's still doing the same. It's just a different in wording to make it line up with case law.
To line up with case, and I think the case law may be what I'm trying to refer to. So when it lines up with case law, what are we doing now? We're keeping it still at 12 though, right?
No, it's
Oh, I missed
under
that.
20. It says the floor amendment that's coming will say reaching prior to individual reaching 21 years of age.
So a youthful offender can be 21, under 21 and under, or under 21?
Under 21.
Under 21.
Yes.
Okay,
The
so
day before they reach their 21st birthday.
so then if we're doing that, what is the difference in what we have right now?
Right now, anybody can get youthful offender for even capital murder.
Anybody?
They can apply for it, and it'll be up to the judge to decide if they get it.
So I thought you were removing a judge out of this.
That's what it's currently that's how it works. This would just say they cannot get youthful offender under capital murder or murder.
So you don't want the judge to make that decision?
There was a case where the judge made a bad decision, and it was finally went back on. That's to keep this from happening.
Is that here in Alabama?
Yes, in Clay County.
And where? Clay County? What happened? The judge made a decision to do what?
The situation, a girl was breaking up with a boyfriend, and he lured her up to Cheehaw Mountain and shot her in the head, killed her, pushed her off the cliff. The judge gave him youthful offender.
Okay.
He was 18, 19 years old when the offense occurred.
So when he appealed to the...
Well, they appealed it, and the Alabama Court of Criminal Appeals said based on the law, they could not overturn it. They gave it to the judge. This will just say under the murder charge, the judge could not give the youthful offender. They thought it was based on case law. They couldn't overturn it, but they thought it should be overturned.
And you believe that we should do this as opposed to the judges in these cases?
Just on the murder. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Chair thanks the lady. Chair recognizes the gentleman from St. Clair. Chairman Hill. We are on the amendment.
Just a couple of questions. If I understand the law correctly, if an individual is 16 years old and charged with certain charges, they're automatically charged as an adult. Is that correct?
Not for murder, no.
Yeah.
Well, they're charged with it, but the judge can reduce it back to, could give them youthful offender.
Okay. So what does your bill say? Is it only murder and capital murder that cannot be tried as a youthful offender?
Yes. Well, there's an amendment coming that's going to move it just to intentional murder. But right now, the way this is any murder, if capital murder or murder could not get youthful offender.
So any murder, capital murder,
or murder. Yes.
They would be charged as an adult because of their age and the seriousness of the crime.
Yes.
All right. But today they can make an application for youthful offender.
Yes.
And that application would either be granted or not granted.
That's correct.
Okay. Why do we bring this since it's discretionary?
Well, the first case was in Clay County where a judge gave a guy that killed his girlfriend he gave her youthful offender, and the Court of Criminal Appeals said they could not overturn his discretion.
And when was that?
I think it was 2017, I think it's the last case was done on it.
You think the case in Clay County that took place in 2017?
Yeah, that's one of them. What happened is, what brought my attention to it is the shooting in Dadeville.
Okay.
The kids went in there and shot it all up. They applied for youthful offender.
How many of them got it?
None.
Okay. So they all applied for youthful offender and not a single one of them got it.
That's correct.
So what's the problem there? Did you think they should have gotten it?
No, what the problem is it just keeps delaying the courts. The courts, you had a bill the other day said the courts were overworked. This just takes less work off the judges.
No. Tried as a youthful offender, is it tried jury or non-jury?
Non-jury.
Okay.
How's the judge up?
What about capital murder, jury or non-jury?
The trial is actual jury.
Takes way longer to try a jury trial than a non-jury. So
Yes.
everybody you grant youthful offender to, you've actually diminished the amount of time in court. But I hear you. But that's not the main thing. What committee did this go through?
Public safety.
Okay, so it did not go through the Judiciary Committee.
No, sir.
I didn't think it did. I'm just opposed to removal of judicial discretion.
Well,
I'm always going to be opposed. You know, we get up here. Can I get a little just? Hey, Mr. Speaker, can I get people to hush for a second? You know, folks, I'm gonna tell you, we do things and we are removing judicial discretion. We do it over and over again. I hear from legislators comments like this. We don't want judges making law from the bench. We don't want them legislating from the bench. And you're absolutely correct. Judges should never legislate from the bench. However, the court handles cases and controversies that come before it. The court does not handle policy decisions. It handles cases and controversies on an individual basis that comes before it. And to remove the discretion of the judge who knows the facts of the particular case that is coming before that judge, you are eroding the ability of the court to make the decisions that it needs to make as it deals with that particular case or that particular controversy. Consequently, I'm absolutely going to oppose and do oppose any bill that comes down here that removes discretion from our judges. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The chair thanks the gentleman. The chair recognizes the lady from Calhoun speaking on the amendment. Dr. Boyd, you're recognized.
Thank you so much for the recognition. Do you yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I guess I should just say amen to Judge Hill, who explained it much better than I could explain. But going back to Representative Hall, being an educator and knowing somewhere many lines we have failed to do our duty. I have a problem with removing and saying that they must be tried as an adult. You gave 2 cases. Did you base this bill on just those 2 cases?
All it takes is one.
Oh my goodness.
If you were a victim, your family was killed, the most you can get on youthful offender is 3.
I have 2 sons. What if they were in a situation, they're grown now, what if they were in a situation where they were caught and they just had to do something in self-defense? You're moving you are removing all the guidelines that gave judges discretion. And I'm not a lawyer, but I do know on one case we should not. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Because in reverse, as an educator, I have many students who are little devils, one of them, but today they come back to me and thank me. I think that this, with all due respect, I don't think judges should. Maybe you can convince me. What, other than that one case, what else brought about a bill like this?
Well, the family, if you were the family and your daughter was killed, which we're going to later on name it after this girl that was killed, the guy, after the judge rescinded his order, got 52 years to serve in prison instead of 3.
That's one example. That's one example. But
If it was your family, would you want them to serve or not serve?
women, not in that way. You must remember, I'm an educator. So that's the wrong question to ask me because I could stand here forever. But thank you for listening to me because we need to do a better job of preparing them. And some of the parents need to be on the opposite end of this instead of the child.
I agree
Thank
with
you
that.
so much for listening.
Chair thanks the lady. Chair recognizes the lady from Macon, Richmond Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Pettis, I've always been appreciative of your support. And as you know, I've always been a supporter or a fighter for our children. And when I sit here and I listen to where we are in this bill, I can't help but think about some juveniles I've worked with, I've counseled, and in dealing with these kids, most of their actions are done with ego and at the moment. They don't even think about what they're doing. And to say that we need to not give them a second chance, at least when they're convicted as juveniles, they're not set free.
3 years.
They got to serve some time.
Yes.
And I think during that time, not only age-wise, but I think growth-wise, experience-wise, mental-wise, they have an opportunity to go back and rethink what they've done. And to be here today and vote so freely of not allowing that child, because that's what we're dealing with now. We are not allowing that child to have a second chance. You know, like I say, we talk all the time, you know, we got Bibles when we started, and it tells us about forgiveness and not us being the judge all the time. And I think in circumstances like this, and I applaud Judge Hill as to what he's saying. Sometimes the law isn't what's needed. A person's opinion and experiences is needed. And I think that that's where the judge actually comes in and making the decision that he or she feels is best for this situation. Because like I said, I have seen them, and they regret it. You know, you start talking to these kids, they start crying, they start, you know, you end up having to get them some mental health when they really realize shooting a gun, killing somebody, what actually happened. So I think that I can't agree with you. And like I said, I really like to work with you, but I can't really agree with you in trying to take this authority away from a judge and letting this body right here, us, decide what's going to happen to this child. Because no matter what you say, we are still dealing with a child. And to even take it more seriously and to look at the state of Alabama, I think that if we look at what's happening in our world today and what has happened, we have forgiven grown people for killing law enforcement officers on January the 6th. We're letting them go free. But here we are in Alabama saying that we're going to find a way to try to harm a child in this state. So I think that, you know, we got to be a little more considerate, a little more understanding, a little more forgiving, not to cut this child off before he has an opportunity to really find himself and to prove to himself and to others what he's all about. So I would just ask that, you know, we really consider what we're doing here today, because it's sending a bad message, and it's sending a very bad message to our children. And I don't know, I've been around kids lately, and they have been seriously talking about what's happening. And for us to sit here today and send them a message and say, hey, we can't forgive you. We can't give you a second chance. We want you first time to be committed, be criminalized as an adult. So I'm just asking you if there's any way that we can make this a little more lenient, even to give the judge, you know, we can say after consideration of the judge, this student can, I mean, this child can do whatever you're saying.
Well, I look at it, I guess, from the other side. I looked at the victim and the victim's family. The child that got killed, they have no chance for the rest of their life. They have no second chance. They're dead. The guy killed their daughter. She's dead. She don't have a second chance. She's gone. There's no second
But
chance.
again, you know, it's really, the family, we sympathize with them.
Mm-hmm.
We understand. And I have seen families who've gone and asked that some victims are not convicted or given death sentences from family members.
Well, if they're not convicted, they would not go into prison either way.
So, I mean, I see it, I feel it for the families, but I also have seen families who didn't want people to death for death sentences.
Mm-hmm.
They've asked, you know, no, that's not giving them their child back or their family back, and it's a pain that's going to be with them no matter what, how things go. So I truly sympathize with the family who's lost people, but at the same time, I think as though we need to give a person an opportunity to really see who they are, because these kids don't know when they do these crazy. And so many of them, if you know some of the things that's really going on, I think in law enforcement, you know it. A lot of these kids are doing these things from pressure for gang initiations.
Yep.
You know, they're not even making these decisions themselves. They feel threatened and weakened to do what they're doing. So in cases like that, you know, why really not give that child a chance?
Well, if they're in the gang and the gang knows they're only going to get 3 years, they're going to keep pushing them. Nothing's going to happen until you go do it. And if you kill somebody and you do it again, if you get YO, you cannot use that against them if they kill the second time. So if they keep doing it, it's just a pattern. And it's what we're hoping to stop the pattern.
Like I said, I understand your side and what you're seeing. But all I'm saying is, you know, as a compromise, we all need to get a good feeling from what we do in this chamber as it relates to lives of our children. And I think this one gives me more of a hurt or guilt to say, erase him off the board instantly, instead of really giving him that chance and giving the judge the opportunity to rule as he or she sees fit for that child. Okay?
All right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And like I say, thank you for all the support you've given me through the years. But you know, it's always about the children
That's correct.
when it comes to me.
Yes.
And this is what I see this bill as doing, hurting a child.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question for the body now is passage of the committee sub. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 65 ayes, 29 nays. The committee sub has been adopted. Chairman Pettis.
I have a floor amendment.
Clerk, see the amendment.
Amendment to House Bill number 146 by Representative Pettis.
Here to explain your amendment, please.
Yeah, after the DA's Association had a change of the wording where it said under 16, what it said prior to the individual reaching the age of 21, before reaching the age of 21 years of age, but not disposed of in juvenile court.
Okay, you've heard the explanation of the committee sub. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes. 75 ayes, 19 nays. The floor sub has been adopted. Amendment.
There's another, I think there's another amendment coming.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Tuscaloosa, resident of England.
Thank you for the recognition. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to say first, thank you for being willing to sit down and talk to us and meet with us about some of our concerns. And through that conversation, we were able to come up with this amendment. And what it does, it replaces line 44 on page 2 with the following: pursuant to section 13A-6-2-A1, may not be tried as a youthful offender. And what it does, it takes, when you were talking about all murder, and it just it limits it to intentional. So that's a specific code section. So with that explanation, Mr. Speaker, I offer the amendment.
Okay, you've heard the
Oh, sorry, let me give that to you.
clerk see the amendment.
Amendment to House Bill number 146 by Representative England.
Representative of England.
Again, it's something that we talked about, we've agreed to.
Yes.
So with that, I'll offer the amendment.
Okay, you've heard the explanation of the amendment. Sponsor agrees it's a friendly amendment.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Hall, do you want to talk on England's amendment? Okay. Chair recognizes the lady from Madison, Representative Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentleman tell me how this makes it better?
It limits, so like, for example, if there were a carload full of people, okay, and someone shot out of the car and there were 3 other people with that person, the other 3 may not have known what was going on, may not have been involved in the actual crime itself, but under the current law, they would all be charged with murder. This would mean that it would limit the number of folks that were involved in that initial confrontation or incident to the person that was actually intentionally murdering or killing the other person. So not everybody, just the person that's the most culpable.
Yeah, the one that had the gun. Or
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chair thanks the lady. You heard the explanation of the amendment. Sponsor views it as a friendly amendment. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the votes. 99 ayes, 0 nays. The amendment has been adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Thank you.
Thank the gentleman.
Ask for final passage as substituted and amended.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Dallas, Representative Chestnut.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes.
In the practice of law, we have this thing that we refer to. Can you hear me?
Talking to Mike. I couldn't hear you.
In the practice of law, we have this thing called forum shopping. Have you ever heard of forum shopping before?
No.
So forum shopping is essentially when a lawyer picks out a particular jurisdiction, a particular circuit, or a particular county to file his case in because he's going to get a more favorable outcome from doing that. Did you forum shop this bill so that it could avoid Judiciary Committee?
No, couldn't do that.
You sit on Judiciary Committee, don't you?
I do.
And as a member of it, you didn't think that it was important to put this bill through the gauntlet to make sure that it was foolproof?
I'm not the one who designs the bills.
Oh, so you had nothing to do with it. It just magically appeared in a very soft committee.
I won't say, whoa. I'm not going to say that.
Okay. Well, I'll say it.
Okay.
And that's why you did it, because you were forum shopping, right?
I'm not an attorney, so.
Okay. Well, I have an issue with this air of, it seems like almost a putrid dislike and distaste for judicial discretion. I'm not sure like where that comes from, but we're elected officials, right?
That's correct.
And judges are elected also, correct? In
Yes.
Alabama.
Yes,
Okay? Because they're not appointed like the federal.
that's correct.
When a judge runs for office, he's got to prove himself to the people, right? That he will use his discretion. Because when you're electing a judge, you're electing that judge based on not his good looks, not her good looks, but on their mind and on their ability to be able to understand the law and to be able to apply the law to a set of facts and use their discretion. Is that correct?
I'm not going to go that far. There's a lot of people that go there, oh, that looks like a good name. I'm going to vote for them. I can't say they can say they're smart. Same thing with us. A lot of them that go down there and oh, I like that name. I'm going to vote for them. Same thing with the judge. Not necessarily that, no.
Okay. And you've heard the expression, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right?
Yes.
So if discretion is good for police officers, then how is it not good for judges?
It's according to what the situation is. The law enforcement has to fall under scrutiny just like the judges do.
Well, there's a bill right now that's less scrutiny for law enforcement based on discretion.
It's not
right?
my bill.
Specifically discretion.
It's
right?
not my bill.
And your bill is stripping away, divesting discretion from the judicial branch. Isn't the judicial branch, what are the three branches of government?
Executive, judiciary, and legislative.
Okay. So why are we here saying that one branch isn't that important? Because that's what this bill is doing. You're saying that one branch, just not that important.
I don't think so.
So, and didn't the founders set up this whole thing, the three branches, to make sure that they were what? Co-equal? Do you believe in co-equal branches of government? Okay, so why are we stripping the judiciary of its ability to be able to sit there and do what we put them there for, which is to make decisions, right? Like, let me give you an example. One of the things that I think could have been done with this bill had it gone through the proper vetting is that we could have looked at I think there are 7 factors for the 7 factors for dealing with youthful offender, right?
There's 7 for murder.
Huh?
I don't know about you. There's 7 under the murder charge. There's 7 different categories.
So couldn't we have taken these different factors, right, and said that judges will have to rule out all these different factors to show how they reach their decision? That way, you're getting what you need, right? You're getting judges being able to put down in writing, this is how I reached this decision, showing their work. Because I think the issue is the fact of, a lot of judges aren't required to show their work, right?
That's what Judy last week, the judge got up there and said he didn't want to show why he made a decision on what he made.
Yeah.
He don't like to write it down. He wants to just do it and not have any reason for doing it.
But when you strip him of the ability to use his discretion, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's what that bill is doing. It's taking the judge's discretion away.
Yeah.
That's what that bill does.
So this bill doesn't take away discretion from the judge?
Only on the charge of murder of A1, intentional murder.
Do you agree with me that all situations aren't the same?
On what?
All situations, right? Like, for instance, if you stopped a pregnant lady speeding to the hospital, she's not the same as a drunk guy speeding, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so when you were in law enforcement, did you stop? Would you treat a pregnant lady whose water broke and she's heading to the hospital, would you treat her the same way that you would treat a stop on a drunk guy?
No, there's 2 totally different charges.
What's that?
It's not intentional murder.
Yeah, but
You getting apples and oranges. That's not apple. You got to do apples and apples.
Yeah, but all murder facts aren't the same. You're putting everything in a cookie cutter and saying, well, the fact that they were charged with it means they're guilty. That's what you're doing. You're jumping from the allocution to a finding of guilt.
After we did the amendment, it only on intentional murder means they had to intend to murder somebody.
Okay.
It's only that one.
Look, that cleanup is good. I like that. But I believe that putting together a situation where you have those factors and giving the judges, saying, look, just show your work, I think that is a better way to do it than to just completely say, no discretion, you have to, this is what it's automatic. Because after a while, you're not going to, if you take away all the discretion, you're not going to even need judges. I mean, you might as well just let Zuckerberg or Elon Musk throw up an algorithm and just throw a set of facts in it and then spit it out and get the result. Because that's kind of where we're going if we take away discretion.
But this is only on intentional murder, not voluntary, not manslaughter, not any of the other ones, only on intentional murder, and they have to prove it was an intentional murder.
Okay. And I just want to say, last, as a man with a brain who can think, we need to get to a point to where if we're going to put people in positions, we need to trust that they're going to do what we put them there to do. And if the ethical wings of, like the Judiciary Inquiry Commission, if they're not doing what they need to do, then we need to look at them. But to just strip cold turkey discretion away from judges, I just think we're going down a very, very dangerous road by doing this. And we're going to get cookie cutter justice across this state, and it's not going to be good for the defendants or the victims when you do it that way. And I've said my piece, so.
Thank you.
You're recognized, the gentleman from Clark, Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That wasn't fair having me follow an attorney and a judge. But I'm just a common guy that uses common sense. And I believe in the separation of power. I believe in the 3 branches of government. And this nation was founded upon those. principles. But to have one branch telling the other branch what they cannot do is being dictatorial and authoritarian. There are some people that make mistakes when they're in their judgment. And you're probably one of them because you've been a police officer or still a police officer. Even a lay person, because none of us are perfect. But to just have a vindictive attitude, what I've just heard, we talked about this in committee, and I knew that we're going down a slippery slope when we start this unprecedented process. The legislative branch telling the judicial branch what they can and cannot do is not democracy.
Do we not do that now?
No, Judge,
who makes the law of first-degree murder?
That's why you elect.
But I'm talking about who makes the laws.
Who makes the law? We make the law.
So
but
if
we don't tell the judge how to legislate that.
But we tell him what murder is. We decide that.
He has a discretion to do what he does. That's why he's the judge. You know, I think I go back to the day of Israel, when there was a king named Solomon, and there was a case presented to him about two boys, two mothers. One mother in her sleep suffocated her son, and the other mother was accused. And they both came before the judge. So the only way that the judge could get the truth was to take the living child and tell them that we will cut this child in half and give one mother one half and the other mother the other half. And the real mother of the child said, no, give her the child. The judge knew who was the living mother. And so here we are in this situation now. I'm thinking in a situation where we are trying to tell the judge when he made a decision. Instead of saying, well, judge, you made a bad decision, we're gonna take your authority away from you. We're gonna tell you, we're gonna legislate to you how we want you to do, rather than let the process go on as is.
Well, the process still goes to the jury. The jury will decide if the judge don't decide that. That's why we don't give the discretion to the judge
from the judge that what he can't do.
Well, that's the jury to decide if he's guilty.
The jury decided in that case, didn't it?
Yeah, the jury decided.
That's what I'm saying, but the judge made the discretion, right?
After the discretion was taken away from him. Yes.
And so here we are, it's taking away the rights of people who get elected to sit on the bench, to make decisions. We've made some bad decisions. That's why we end up in court, right here, legislatively. Unconstitutional we go.
Yes.
And they found us out of the order, so they rule against us. Am I right?
They said we have too much discretion. They take our discretion away from us. The courts do.
So that's what, now you're going to take the court's discretion. See?
You're saying the court's taking our discretion away.
Well, when we wrong, we're over here putting these bad bills out there, and people sue us, and we go to court and lose, and they're on the right side. So we was on the wrong side of that, and I think that's what's happening here. So I'm not gonna filibuster, but try to bring some sanity and some clarity to where we are and what we are doing, and what it's going to cost down the road. We're building prisons. And they already feel from what I've been reading.
With violent people.
We can't keep up with the process. So something is wrong. We need to start a new process. We need to do more preventive methods.
I agree.
Thank you for that.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Jefferson, Reverend Treadway.
Oh.
Representative Pettis, I want to thank you for bringing this bill. We're talking intentional murder and capital murder, correct?
That's correct.
Unfortunately, you have to bring bills like this because in public safety homeland security, which is made up predominantly of law enforcement officers that know something about crime and know something about going before judges.
That's correct.
Some of these judges that use this discretion in a manner that's not really safe for the public. So, and one of my colleagues mentioned that maybe it was put in a committee, it was soft on crime. I think it was put in a committee. I will remind everybody, most of the bills that, no, 100% of the bills that came out of that committee this year that's made it to this floor have come out of here with a supermajority vote. They're good pieces of legislation. And maybe it was steered that way because folks are starting to view judiciary as a soft on crime committee. But either way, I'm saying maybe. But either way, I appreciate you bringing a bill. We work hard on these bills. We address a lot of these concerns. This is a good public safety bill. And by the way, didn't a judge just bring use discretion on a cop killer? Didn't the judge just let a cop killer go on capital murder?
Yes.
Gave him bond?
Yes.
Exercise that discretion?
Yes.
Young officer killed in the line of duty? Murdered? It's the first time I've ever seen that happen. Thank you for bringing it.
Chair, thanks, gentlemen. Question for the body now is passage of HB 146 as amended. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock a bill, record the vote. 67 ayes, 33 nays. HB 146 has passed.
Mr. Speaker, I've been asked to open it up for co-sponsors.
Ms. Clerk, let's open it up for co-sponsors. Clerk will lock the machine. We've got 21 co-sponsors.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Clerk, call next bill.
On page 30 of the calendar, House Bill number 270 with substitute by Representative Hammett relating to ADEM.
Representative Hammett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. HB 270 is an industry-driven bill. The Alabama Groundwater Association has worked with ADM on this bill. It deals with several industry issues. One is we don't have continuing education hours to get a water well contractor's license. The problem with that, our license won't reciprocate with other states. There's some drilling operations current that aren't required to have a license. Geotechnical, geothermal, cathodic protection work, and pump installer. These will fall under a restricted license. And we're going to set up an unrestricted license where you can drill water wells and these other, I just discussed. We also have an enforcement issue with counties that border other states. We have the unlicensed drillers coming in. Prior to the rule change, the department will consult with the Alabama Groundwater Association. This hasn't been anything done since 1984 to revise this, how the license is done. One of our greatest resources is groundwater, and we need to try to do what we can protect it. Mr. Speaker, we do have a sub. I'm going to ask for the BIR.
Chair, Rick, question for the body is adoption of the BIR. Clerk will unlock the machine. The members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine. Record the vote. 99 ayes, 2 nays. The BIR has been adopted. Representative Hammett.
We've got a sub. It's changing lines 193 through 195 on page 7 was provided in this chapter. What it is, if it's over $100,000, you have to have a general contractor's license, and there was some confusion. That might not be the case, so we took that out to keep the general contractor's license.
Okay, you've heard the explanation of the committee sub. Ms. Hall, do you want to speak on the sub or the bill? Chair recognizes the lady from Madison, Representative Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Your first statement about the amendment, you said on line 7, on page 7?
It's a substitute. We just took out some
I'm in
language.
this, well, I'm in substitute CXXBEWJ1. Is that the sub you're looking at with that number on the front?
I don't have that number. Oh, on the bill? Show me what you're saying.
I was looking at, making sure we had the same thing. This number here, CX.
That's it.
Okay. And then your sub, your amendment, did you say what lines 193?
It's replacing lines 193 through 195 on page 7.
Okay. What is it?
There was some confusion that it was saying you wouldn't, if you do a job over $100,000, you're supposed to have a general contractor's license. And so there was some confusion that if we didn't change this, they were going to say they didn't have to have a general contractor license, and they do. So we just cleaned up some language.
So tell me what the language is. That's what I'm trying to understand. What is the language? And line 193 says, has demonstrated lack of competency as a driller of water wells. And in that particular,
They've got the lines wrong.
okay, what is it?
I'll have to find it. Just give me just a minute, please.
So this section leading down to where you are is ways, the way I read it was the ways in which a license may be refused or issued or may be suspended or revoked.
They've got the lines wrong. No, it was saying that they will be required for the license.
May I? So the way I read this, replace line 193 to 195, provided with the following provided in this chapter. So are we saying at the end of 191 has been guilty of fraudulent or dishonest practices
The language.
provided in this chapter?
Yes, ma'am. The language
Okay.
was a confusion with the General Contractors Board, and they asked for this amendment, this substitute.
And I get that. All I'm trying to do is connect where it fits in the bill. So if you said line 193 through 95 has been deleted, then it says, having been guilty of fraudulent or dishonest practices provided in this chapter. Is that the way it's supposed to be?
No, it's dealing with. All right, the lines are wrong. It should be 174 through 176. A license required by this chapter shall authorize the licensee to engage in the activities in this state as provided in this chapter. But if you have a job over $100,000, you still have to have a GC, a general contractor's license. They just got the lines wrong.
Okay, so are you saying lines 174 through 176 is the correct statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that's already there.
Yes, ma'am.
And so if we put that, so I disregard what was said about 193 through 196.
That's correct.
All right. Is that the only thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
It
Ms.
sure
Hall.
wasn't making sense.
Sure, thanks, lady. Question for the body now is adoption of the committee sub. Clerk will unlock the machine and the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote, 100 ayes, 0 nays. The committee sub has been adopted.
Mr. Speaker, I'd ask for final passage.
That's questions, final passage of HB 270. Clerk will unlock the machine, the members will vote. Clerk will lock the machine, record the vote, 102 ayes, 0 nays. HB 270 as amended has passed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank
you,
the
body.
gentleman. Chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson, Representative Cavan, for a moment of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise. On last week, I was not here at the end of the week. But I rise, and I'm hoping that the members will hear me just for a second. I brought a bill last week, HB 287, that dealt with a duty to report, which I consider to be a transparency bill, the number of sworn officers. During that particular discussion or debate on the bill, several people came up to the microphone. I have no problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is this. I've been here 4 terms, almost 15 years, and I believe in a process, and that process should be simple. If you have a problem with someone's bill, go to them. If you have a problem with a bill that someone is carrying, but you have a problem with someone who is attached to the bill, go to them. Last week on a very serious issue, a member approached me basically to say that someone was lying about a particular transaction relative to that particular bill. I did not appreciate it then, and I do not appreciate it now, because I do believe in the level of integrity that I have as a legislator to be prepared as best I can. And when I am not, I come to this microphone and I say that I am not. I have a copy of the letter that Representative Alan Treadaway had sent to the municipality in question. I never doubted that, nor was that an issue of mine. But I just wanted to bring this to the attention to the body, Mr. Speaker, because we don't come down here to play. And I do not want anyone to ever mix me in the mix of any issue that they have with the member. When I come to this well, most of the time I say I come as a party of one because I can stand on my own and I don't need any help. I never have and I don't intend on now. But I do not want anyone to ever come to this well while I am presenting any piece of legislation that is tied to a member that they have not discussed it with them instead of discussing it with me. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I just think that's the only right and fair thing to do. Thank you.
Chair thanks the lady. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Jefferson, Representative Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Because of our exceptional legislative efficiency today, very Japan-like, we moved our reception, our Japan Day reception, back to 3:30 down to room 200. We got a lot of companies there that are anxious to see the representatives, so please drop by. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes the lady from Mobile, Representative Drummond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this point of personal privilege. Members, can I get your attention for just one moment? The nationally renowned singer Angie Stone, and I'm sure many of you saw the stories. She had her last performance on Friday night in Mobile at our Grand Marshals Ball, and tragically, she was killed in a wreck on I-65 on Saturday morning. So I not only ask you to stand in silence for a moment for this wonderful singer, but I also ask that we read a resolution in her honor commemorating her life. And I want to thank all of the first responders, because I understand that there were several other people in the van, and it was a Mercedes van, and unfortunately, Ms. Stone was the only one that was killed, and they took them all to Baptist South Hospital, and they did a yeoman's job. And it's kind of heartfelt for many of us. I actually attended that ball, and she talked about losing so many other people, but she had her last performance in Alabama. So for a word of silence, thank you. Thank you. Resolution, please.
Ms. Clerk, read the resolution, please.
Whereas It is with profound sorrow that we note the death of R&B artist and actress Angie Stone on March 1st, 2025, at the age of 63. And whereas her departure leaves a void in the lives of her loving family, many friends, and the community where she was highly respected and regarded, and whereas, born in Columbia, South Carolina, on December 18, 1961, Angie Stone launched a career spanning 4 decades as a recording artist in multiple genres. In the late 1970s, she was a member of The Sequence, a pioneering all-woman rap group behind the hit Funk You Up, into neo-soul and R&B with albums including Black Diamond and Mahogany Soul. And whereas she was nominated for her first Grammy for More Than a Woman in the Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal category, she was nominated again in 2004 for U-Haul, and once more in 2007 for her song Baby. And whereas Angie Stone has over 40 screen credits as an actress, including notable titles Girlfriends, Moesha, The Hot Chick, Scary Movie 5, and Ride Along. And whereas Angie Stone is survived by her daughter Diamond Stone, her son Michael D'Angelo Archer II, and 2 grandchildren. And whereas, although her joyful presence will be greatly missed, the memory of Angie Stone will be cherished in the hearts of all who knew her and loved her. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the Legislature of Alabama that the death of Angie Stone is regarded with deep sadness, and this resolution is offered to her family in tribute to her life and with heartfelt sympathy to her loved ones whose grief is shared by many.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, body.
Let's move for the adoption of the resolution. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? It is adopted. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Lee, Chairman Lovern.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House stand adjourned.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.